Okay, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Fulani. We're continuing in our series. It's going to be that way this week, naturally. The elections at the weekend, the off-cycle elections for, I beg your pardon, Imo. There's Bayelsa in there and Kogi states. Okay, we'll be focusing on Imo today. And just to bring us up to speed, our guest later on that will be joining us very, very shortly is Eyinaya Onuegbu, Special Advisor to the Imo State Governor on political matters. But just before then, a recent report on the INEC efforts and ideas and intentions to produce a credible election in Imo State that went out, as I said, just recently. Let's have that for background.
It's 1 week to November 11 off-season governorship election in Imo, Bayelsa and Kogi states. The Independent National Electoral Commission is working hard to leave no stone unturned. The chairman of INEC is in Owerri to meet heads of security agencies to ensure adequate security arrangements, especially in violent-prone areas.
We have the continuing behavior of some of the political actors, which impedes the conduct of free and fair elections. So we are going to start today by meeting those who are going to secure the environment for us to conduct elections and to hear from you what are the issues, what are the challenges, what are the things that we need to do with only 8 days to the election. The election is holding next weekend on Saturday the 11th, meaning that we have time to recover in case there are issues that we need to address. What can we do together to ensure that we deliver credible elections? As I keep repeating, INEC is not a political party. We do not have a candidate in this election. The responsibility of who becomes the next governor of Imo State is entirely in the hands of the voters of Imo State.
Meanwhile, a civil society group, Yaga Africa, says they will continue to engage all relevant stakeholders to ensure the integrity of the electoral process is protected. The program director, Yaga Africa, Cynthia Mbamalu, says as a credible CSO, it will continue to advocate for good governance.
We believe in partnership and collaboration to support credible elections, and the conversations that we've been having with CSOs and media in Imo is one discussing the plans for the elections, the political climate ahead of the elections, concerns of CSOs and media partners in the state, and then looking at what are the major issues that require attention of stakeholders.
If assurances given by security agencies and the electoral umpire are to be believed, November 11 governorship election will be free, fair and devoid of violence. Prince Oba, TVC News, Owerri.
Okay then, and joining us now live is Mr. Eyinaya Onuegbu, Special Advisor to the Governor of Imo State on political matters. A fine morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
Indeed.
And our viewers across the world.
It is our pleasure. Okay, so all is set, I would imagine, today being Tuesday and we're looking towards the weekend. I imagine that most of the T's and I's have been crossed and dotted as necessary. Would that be your perspective as well?
Well, I agree with you on that because Senator Hope Uzodinma, Governor of Imo State, is a veteran in contesting elections. He had won the Senate elections twice, won one governorship election, and this is another governorship election that will mark the second tenure of his administration. So we are primed and ready for the elections for Saturday, 11th of November in Imo State.
Okay. Well, it's interesting. You go ahead and say that as a true party man, talking about his second term. There will, of course, the other contestants on the field will be discounting that and will be looking towards their first term. So I suppose everybody's in order. It's not as if they're going to be handing anything to him on a platter of gold. The governor is going to be aided, no doubt, by what his record is, and indeed, most importantly, what the citizenry of Imo State see as his record? Do you think he has enough?
That is true. That is true. That is true. There are other contestants, but we are on ground, and we have been around for getting to the fourth year now, conclusion of the first tenure. The performance level of the governor is actually better than most 8-year tenured governors in the past. And we believe that the 4 years that will end in January would signal the best administration we have had since the time of our late former governor, Chief Sam Mbakwe. I concede that there are other contestants, but Imo people in their droves, in the majority, know that Governor Hope Uzodinma has done so well that we are primed and ready to return him to office to complete his second tenure. That is the truth. I have very great respect for the other contestants, but in this business, we know who is miles ahead in Imo State, and Imo electorate know that.
Okay. Well, you know, violence has always been an issue that has been taken seriously in all elections across the country, or the governorship elections or whatever. The degree might differ, but it's always been something important to the electorate. What would be your assessment of the state of safety in Imo State? Because that's something that opponents will, you know, naturally get a hold of and will try to exploit. For instance, I don't know, one of the parties, the PDP, for instance, has been speaking about the need to, as it were, relocate or remove the resident electoral commissioner, Professor Sylvia Ago. I don't know, tell me a bit about that and the apprehension of other people, and as I said, your assessment of the state of security in Imo State for this election.
Thank you very much. The first thing is that we must bear in mind that security is a national concern. All the agencies in charge of security in Nigeria are federal government agencies, and the state does not have, as it were, its own police, army, directorate of state services, civil defense, or advocate may be the Navy. But be that as it may, in Imo, we have enjoyed very robust cooperation and collaboration with the security agencies. And I believe, since this is an off-season election, I believe that the horizon is not very large for INEC and the security agencies to handle. And I'm sure there will be in Imo and the other two states that are involved in this off-season election. And by the way, talking about the PDP candidate, why has he not called for the removal of the INEC resident electoral commissioner in Bayelsa that is ruled by a PDP governor? Well, no footballer chooses the referee, and INEC is not a participant in the election. INEC is not a political party, and they have been there even before you signaled an intention to contest. INEC will be there, and you will buy your funds from INEC. So to ask that INEC should change their personnel is a bit out of order. It's a bit of out of order unless for a candidate who is not prepared to face the election. And as we know in Imo State, the PDP actually is in tatters. The PDP is in tatters. More than half of the state executive of PDP had left the candidate. Even the person he announced as his director general refused to participate. We don't see him on the streets campaigning. The only thing we see him talking about is celebrating the unfortunate orchestrated security issues that happened in Imo, which by God's grace in the last 5 months has gone to near zero level. That is what we see him canvassing for. And I believe that he's just crying because it looks like he has seen how the result will be because of his poor performance in campaign and mobilization of Imo voters. And moreover, what will he say when the performance level of our governor is so high and Imo people appreciate it? He has seen the handwriting on the wall, many tekel of fashion, and he wants to make noise where there is no need for noise. He didn't bring the INEC personnel here. He's not the one to say who should work here. And His Excellency, the governor of Imo State, has no role in the posting or any other state in Nigeria. Okay. We accept what we see on ground.
Okay, it's good that we actually have touched on this in passing, talking about other contestants in the race, even as you say that, quite frankly, your man, Senator Hope Uzodinma, CON, is the man to beat. But Tell me about your record, your labor record. And I say this against the news item that, the gentleman, Senator Samuel Anyanwu of the PDP, has said that he will be reinstating all those people that have lost their jobs, as about 10,000 people. Is that, how do you see that? Is that an important issue, or do you think that's a cheap shot? How would you describe that?
It's a very cheap shot, because even the labor union in Imo has not published any list of any worker that has been laid off. What happened in Imo was that His Excellency, upon assuming office, took decision to create a database for Imo workers. Imo workers were asked to go to the data center and provide their information for necessary data capturing. And in course of that verification, those who entered the system wrongly, those who had retired and forged their years of service, those who were employed when there was no waiver because there was been an embargo on employment in Imo, those persons naturally would not come for verification because they would be afraid to be in a situation where they will have to be charged to court or to refund what they had taken illegally from the state. So if the PDP candidate has any data or any number, he should get the Nigerian Labour Congress Imo State chapter to issue such a publication. But I would like you to know that since Governor Hope Uzodinma came, that there has not been an Imo-originated industrial action on account of either laying off of workers, non-payment of wages, or non-payment of any welfare package. In fact, in Imo, since he came, the workers every year earn 13th month salary. Workers are paid as and when due. The Secretariat has been given a facelift. We have finally paid our counterpart for the National Health Insurance Policy. The permanent secretaries have official vehicles. The workers have vehicles that take them to and from work. As of today, the pensioners are no longer dying on account of non-payment of pension. They receive that as and when due. That is why the pensioners even gave the governor an award as the most pensioner-friendly governor Imo had ever had. That is why till today, no Imo worker had come out anywhere to protest. And we challenge even the national leadership of the Labour Congress to publish a list of the so-called Imo workers that had been laid off. There is nothing like that, because facts don't lie. You cannot cry more than the bereaved. The workers in Imo who are concerned have not come out to cry in line with what the PDP candidate is falsely claiming. Just like he falsely claimed about the security situation.
Okay.
If he had been in Imo, he was a senator, he was national secretary of his party. How come before he started contesting, he never issued any statement saying what he is now saying as a stakeholder? So these are all political campaign gimmicks, and Imo people are wiser and will know what to do on Saturday by voting for Senator Hope Uzodinma's party, All Progressives Congress, to shame the devil.
Since you are on ground, maybe you could help us with an assessment of the state of safety. I mean, this is not a tourism season or anything like that, but I mean, there's an election coming up. People might want to come and go in and out of Imo State. But those that are apprehensive about the state of security, for instance, the clip that we played, the INEC chairman was saying, as you have said, that INEC is not a political party in all of this, and so people should not speak about INEC in certain kind of ways. Now, IPOB, the proscribed IPOB itself has been, reported in the news to be saying that it is watching very, very carefully and has been alerting, or shall we say, has been highlighting that anybody who wants to do anything, I mean, all of this is given a certain apprehension to maybe people who are not there on ground to know the actual state of security in Imo State. So I guess, how safe would you, as a person on the ground, how safe would you say Imo is, election or no election?
Thank you very much. I admit that at the earlier times in this administration, there was a politically orchestrated security issue. And what led to it was, you will remember, there was a jailbreak from the Correctional Services Center in Imo and the police headquarters, where convicts and awaiting trial men escaped and found heaven in some bushes around Imo State. Whether they are IPOB or ESN, I am not in a position to confirm. But what I can confirm to you, that along the line we discovered that if there were 100 victims As many as 95 will be either members of All Progressives Congress, supporters of the governor, or members of family of sympathizers or appointees of the governor, who are essentially APC persons. We wondered why persons of other parties were not negatively impacted by the so-called insecurity issue. But the security agencies rose up to the occasion and have stabilized the polity. And I will give you instances. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria had their annual event in Imo State. The Nigerian Police Force have had 2 national seminars and workshops for the top echelon of the police services in Imo. The Nigerian Army, Chief of Defense Staff, and all the top leaders of the Nigerian security agencies had been in Imo on more than 2 occasions for their conferences. The National Association of Nigerian Students have been here. And in Imo, you have your correspondents as well as those of other national television and radio stations operating in Imo. Any one of them can tell you how the security situation is. And what is more, all these candidates who are contesting election, as it were, all the gubernatorial candidates, there are 18 of them, in addition to the APC candidate. They have been all around Imo campaigning in the 305 political wards of Imo State. They have been campaigning in the 27 local governments of Imo State, and we have not had any incident of insecurity or anything on them. That somebody in Finland is making video broadcast via the social media should not be used to judge the situation on ground. And I am sure if there were situations that will warrant any problem, you would have heard from agencies like the police, civil defense, the Directorate of State Security Services, or even INEC complaining about these things. For today, we have all the apparatus of government security installed in Imo, ready and primed. And the governor had provided, by the administration, enough support, even before this time, for the security agencies to continue maintaining law and order, peace and security in Imo State. So any visitor in Imo has nothing to fear, unless he's a visitor who lives by the social media. And you remember the social media, any enemy of government or opponent of the administration can stay in his bedroom and write stories against the state. But what you would ask, those stakeholders who are now talking, or those candidates who are now agitated, you ask them before the elections, as Imo stakeholders, did they say anything to condemn what has been going on in Imo? But fortunately for us, in the last 5-6 months, it has been totally controlled, and Imo is safe and ready to receive visitors, not only for election purposes, but for tourism sake, because Imo is the tourist capital of the southeastern Nigeria, and we are still reputed to have those dishes that will make people come and enjoy in Imo State. So by the grace of God, we are sure and certainly safe in Imo, and we welcome all of you to come and see.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's very reassuring. That's good to hear. And also to apologize to the viewers that, for a bit there, didn't see the face of our guest. This was bandwidth issues. As you can now see, Nwebu, special advisor to the Imo State Governor, is our guest this morning. And so actually we've opened the phone so you can now call in, because we do want to hear about what's going on in Imo State. Now, Mr. Nwebu, you were speaking earlier about the great strides that have been made. Now, let's look to some of those in terms of the whole developmental agenda. And as you know, there's an agenda of renewed hope that your governor, His Excellency Hope Uzodimma, CON, is keyed into. In the area, what are those things that you think stand him in very good stead? Because he's the guy in charge. He's been doing the work, and I guess the proof of the eating is of the pudding is in the eating. So, what will stand Governor Uzodimma in very good stead against all those opponents who would like to democratically take his seat?
Thank you. Our administration is founded on a 3R mantra. The mantra in interpretative standard is reconstruction, rehabilitation, and recovery. Governor Hope Uzodimma has pursued this policy from the outset of his administration. For the populace, we describe ourselves as a shared prosperity administration. It is because of this that the government set out ab initio to recover the civil service. That is what led to the digitalization of the records of Imo civil service. Because before he came, you could not say how many people, the population of civil servants in Imo. You could not say the population of pensioners. You could not say how many students are in our tertiary institutions or how many teachers, academic and non-academic, are in our tertiary institutions. All these areas have been digitalized because the Imo House of Assembly passed a legislation establishing an Imo data center that has taken charge of this data activity of the government. And that is why we're able to do payment of staff salaries on record, no double payment, no mispayment, no percentage payment of our workers. The second thing is he established what we call...
Before you go on to the second thing, I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon for coming in. Before you go on to the second thing, let me bring this viewer who has called in. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, Uncle Yori. INEC and the police IG have to be very careful not to allow people to use the social media to bully the police and INEC in order to destabilize elections. What is the reason for people saying the wreck of Imo should be removed? The commissioner of police should be removed. If INEC and the police dance to the tunes of such propaganda, if you come to a point that when national election comes, people will say INEC chairman should be removed until you put somebody who they believe will be compliant to a particular party. It is not, it's a very bad trend, and we must not allow it to stay. The other day, the president of NLC was in Imo State, crying more than the bereaved. The workers in Imo State are not crying that the governor is not treating them well. In fact, I saw the state NLC chairman on television saying that what people were reading on social media is not, in tandem with what is on ground there, that they have no issues with the governor. Yet, the NLC president went to Imo State in the guise of labor unionism to be causing trouble. And you saw what happened. He is not able to differentiate labor unionism from politics.
Okay.
He is supporting a political party.
All right.
And he doesn't know that there is a division between politics. He has to play one. He can't play the two at the same time. Otherwise, this country is governed by law and order. What is going on in Imo? I'm concerned about what is going on in Imo State, because if we do not do something about it, it will spread to other states.
All right. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. I beg your pardon. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. Okay, then, Mr. Unebu, well, of course, you know very well what that our viewer was, Mr. George was referring to. The Commissioner of Police has been redeployed.
Right. He's entirely right.
Okay.
No, I endorse Mr. George's opinion. I wholeheartedly endorse it. I don't know if I can continue with what we were talking about.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Go ahead with what we were talking about.
I said, thank you, because we always talk about the youth being the leaders of tomorrow. His Excellency, having served in the presidential committee that husbanded the creation of the Ministry of Digital Economy at the federal level, replicated that ministry in Imo State. We have a Minister of Digital Economy and e-government, headed by a technocrat, Dr. Chimezi Amadi, who we got a leave of the NCC, a former director of NCC to head. That Minister of Digital Economy embarked on our program, which is the 100 IMO training, Skill Up IMO program. The policy aims to train one.
Okay. Sorry, there was a seizure there. We're going to just go on break. We'll come right back, and Mr. Nebu will be able to continue. He was telling us about the digital economy, replication in Imo State. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back.
Lagos is the most visited state in Africa, as the 5th largest economy on the continent. Covering the state and its government is no mean feat, it's a busy beat. We go beyond the curtain of tapes to travel in far into the deep.
I want to thank the Lagos State government for the healthcare facility.
To bring stories that cut across all spectrums.
A greater Lagos shall be ours.
We tell you stories that define our collective well-being as Lagosians. I'm Adedoja Salamadini. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Okay, welcome back. And our guest is Eyinaya Onuebu, and I've just been advised that actually his correct designation is Chief Political Advisor in and as well as Head of the Political Bureau to the Governor of Imo State. So sorry about that. I think we got the nomenclature mixed up a bit. That was an earlier, shall we say, appointment, but now the current one is Head of the.
I didn't complain.
Okay then. Well, thank you very much. So you were telling us when you were telling us about the digital economy.
Yes. So I said our Minister of Digital Economy, headed by an ex-NCC director, Dr. Chimezi Amadi, is currently undertaking the governor's project of 300,000 Imo youth training. We call it Skill Up Imo program. 300,000 Imo youths will be trained in digital economy within a space of 3 years. Every year, 100,000. We have graduated 25,000. As of today, the governor will flag off the third cohort of 40,000. It's happening in the next 1 hour today. Now, this training affords the youths of Imo, because we have 5 tertiary institutions in Imo, because courtesy of His Excellency, we now have a Federal University of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences. We have our Polytechnic. The Ikoku College of Education, that over the years was just a college of education, is now a Federal University of Education. Amongst also the Imo State University and the Federal University of Technology in Imo. So youths from these institutions participate in our digital training program, the Skill Up Imo, and is giving them the skill even to pay their school fees and pay their housing accommodation issues. That is another achievement of His Excellency. Now, if you come to our infrastructure, we had a situation in Imo where you could not connect the 3 zones by road easily. We had our Owerri to Olu Road, which is a 36-kilometer road, which hitherto was described as a federal government road because that road actually leads to Anambra State as a connecting road. No administration bothered to do that road until Governor Hope Uzodinma came. As of today, the 37 kilometers have been dualized. So it is 37 times 2 with drainage and street lighting up to Olo town. Now, you ask yourself, how was this governor able to do this within 18 months, which is a record in Nigerian standards, because even the NDDC cannot boast of such achievement. Now, if you know Okigwe, Owerri to Okigwe Road is a 47-kilometer road, also described as a federal road because it leads to the boundary between Imo, Abia, and Enugu State. Now, the governor had also done that road completely with street lighting and drainage under the same 2 years, first tenure. And these roads hitherto were impassable. Nobody could go through those roads. Now, if you know Owerri to Mahia Road, it passes through the Mbise Nation. It's another 49 kilometers of road currently being done in 2 segments from Owerri. His Excellency also is doing this road, dualizing it. And that is a road that connects Imo with the most populous part of Imo State, the Mbise Nation. Now, if you leave the road infrastructure he has done, that is without prejudice to the internal roads in the state, without prejudice to the 5-kilometer road being undertaken by each of the 27 local governments. Now, if you go to our existing infrastructure, for 8 years of the last administration, Imo State House of Assembly sat throughout in a makeshift apartment that was hitherto an office. Today, the complex that we call Imo State House of Assembly complex has been totally rehabilitated, such that it looks better than even the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is the truth. Anybody can go there. It is electronically equipped, that the members are all craving to do a second term because of the ambience of that House of Assembly. Now, leaving that, we have enjoyed very great cooperation with the federal government. Because, as you know,
Mr. Nuebu,
our governor...
Mr. Nuebu, can you hear me?
Yes.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you, but
yes, please.
Somebody, one of our viewers wants to join the conversation. Good morning, Reverend Dominic.
Good morning, Chief Buhari.
All right, then. Go ahead,
Good
please.
morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Chief Buhari, I am from Imo State.
Okay.
And I wouldn't tell you the part of Imo State I come from.
Yeah.
If I tell your guest the part of Imo State I come from, he'll pick hold on my, my contribution. Buhari, the insecurity in the southeast is general. Everybody know about it. But particularly in Imo State, the governor now has mismanaged it. Buhari, you know very well that my passion, we brought APC in Imo State. But the governor in seat now has become so violent in managing the security of Imo State. Listen to me. The Commissioner of Police is not the problem. The INEC election is not the problem. Somebody prompt these people to do whatever they do. It is the chief executive will tell these people this election is not do or die. But Chief Uzodema is making every election in Imo State do or die. It's my state. I'm a pastor. I'm not a politician. I don't agree with George. If you know how NLC work, there's no way the president of NLC will go to Imo State to protest without the workers in Imo State not cry out. I'm a unionist before. I worked in Estabil before I went to school. It is the state and the union will cry out before the federal LC department, part of NLC will come in to salvage their workers. There's no way Chief Ajero will go to Imo State if there's no problem. Remember early this year, APC could have taken NLC to court because they stopped their flight in Imo State before the election. The process, there have been an agitation here. There are some workers who have not taken salary for 24 months. There are some pensioners who have not paid for 24 months. This is my state. This is my party. If we want to have a good election in Imo State, the governor must mellow down and allow the Igbo people to choose the person they wanted to govern them. If they choose it, if they don't choose him.
Okay, Reverend, let me give Inaya Onuegbu a chance to respond to that. Please go ahead.
I know as a fact that he says he's a pastor, he's not a politician. He used to be a unionist. But the first thing to ask him is, as of today, the Nigerian Labour Congress in Imo State did not issue any statement in support of what Chief Joe Ajero came to Imo to do. I remain to be contradicted. This is the third attempt Chief Joe Ajero has made to orchestrate a strike action since March. He became the Nigerian president of the NLC. And mind you, Chief Joe Ajero is a native of Imo State, and there are 36 states in Imo. Is he telling me that he's the only in Imo that he suspects some workers are being owed? Why has he not gone to Esa or Kogi, who we know have a poorer record of staff welfare, to protest or demonstrate? That is one. Two, the court in Imo, the industrial court, made an order restraining every party from demonstrating. Why did Joe Ajero decide to disobey the court order? Are you saying as leader of NLC he is above the law? Secondly, this our friend seems to think that it is the governor of Imo State who is in charge of security agencies in Imo. The police commissioner in Imo does not take orders from the governor of Imo State by the law. The army in Obinze would not take orders from the governor of Imo State by the law because they are federal establishments. The commander-in-chief of the armed forces is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, not the governor of Imo State. We don't have a state police. Now, if you come to Imo and we had a record of violence against political opponents, you as a TV station would know. From the last election we had till today, there is no record of anybody in Imo being charged, especially on the APC side, to court for any violence during the election or disrupting the election. Nobody is facing such criminal charge. Nobody was arrested. Now, as to the workers, if any worker has not been paid for 24 months, I want to tell you with every sense of responsibility that that person is not a legitimate worker of Imo State government, because as I'm talking to you, there is still a standing committee headed by the secretary to government where anybody who has complaints can go for verification. There is a data center, and I challenge that caller to tell you the name of 1 or 2 or 3 persons and give you that data, make it available to me. I will verify and within 24 hours tell you the status of that purported worker.
Okay, I'm going to bring in another caller, somebody else who is waiting to join the program. Right. John in Abuja. Good morning to you, John.
And give you that data, make it available to me. I will verify and within 24 hours.
John in Abuja, can you hear us? Good morning.
John.
I think we might have lost that connection, and it was sounding bad, as a matter of fact. But just to say to those who don't know that as soon as you get us, please don't try to listen to us off your television set. Please mute the audio of your television set, the sound of your television set, because I did get that impression from listening to that call coming in. It does nothing but distort. But okay, so what we had there just before that failed call was Mr. Onwegbu saying that you know, he didn't quite understand where all of those kind of notions were coming from, and he was reacting to Reverend Dominic, himself an Imolite, if that is how they are referred to, proud sons and daughters of Imo. He said he's from Imo State himself, and he didn't seem to be satisfied with the whole security gamut. But then we've just heard the response from Mr. Onwegbu that what is going on in Imo State is as much as can be done in the absence of a state police. Am I paraphrasing you correctly? And that you didn't see the apprehension that Reverend Dominic in Lagos, who said he's the son of Imo, so he knows what he's talking about, and he wasn't given a very glowing report about the state of security against the backdrop of what you had said, that there is no cause for concern in terms of security in Imo State.
Come home, not being based in Lagos and attacking from Lagos. I am sure also that Lagos is not safer than it is here presently. We had the politically contrived security situation, which the security agencies have brought under full control as of today. Okay. But I wanted to go on to highlight the achievements of the administration. Why I say the first 4 years of governors of the
Yes, you've spoken about infrastructure. You've spoken about the digital economy. You've spoken about infrastructure. And you've also spoken about education is something very, very important, and no less so in Imo State. So would you like to?
That's what I want to.
Please.
Yes. Thank you very much. Like I told you earlier on, we have 5 tertiary institutions in Imo State. For the first time in Imo history, we have recorded 3 years plus of no industrial action by either staff or students of any tertiary institution in Imo.
You know what, Mr. Nwegbu, yes. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but let me include Mazi Okoroafo, who has called in from Arochukwu, so that I won't have to interrupt you. And after that, I really will give you the time to express yourself.
Good morning, sir. Good morning again.
Good morning, Mazi.
Mazi Okoroafo from Arochukwu. But thank God today is Tuesday. But my main concern is that there are a lot of things to be done in summary between now and Thursday. The youth leaders, elders, traditional rulers, religious leaders to try as much as possible and do what? Call the youth to order. Because a situation whereby you see confusion at the electoral ward, they are the youth. The elders will use them, give them one kind of toxic money to go and cause confusion. So I'm just appealing, whether you belong to iPod or WhatsApp, when change you may call it now, just pocket yourself and come out and vote. This is your turn to vote for the government of your own choice. Not tomorrow, you go and sit down somewhere and be doing kidnapping, doing traditional award and the rest now, creating more problems. It is not going to come and decide who do you want to be your governor and the deputy and House of Assembly members. A situation whereby people will run away because so come out and vote. Nothing like somebody is coming to kill you or somebody is going to destroy you. No way. The military has said it point blank that they are in charge of everything. Police are there, DSS are there, all the 11 security are there. They are there to do what? To make sure the election goes free. Go Hannah. So if you go and sit down with football in the empty land, or going to your farm, or going to a stream, or going to fishing, forget about it because we start complaining that come out. Don't come out and don't blame anybody.
Okay then, Mazi, thank you very much for calling in, Mazi. You know, a rallying call there that everybody should come in and contribute his own quota to this. And we're going to hold calls. We're not going to take very many. We're not going to take any calls anymore. But because we need to give our guest, you know, the space to express himself. So we're going to hold the calls so that Mr. Onuegbu, the chief political advisor to the Imo State governor, can really express himself. Go ahead now, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I said for the first time in almost 4 years now, we have not recorded any locally induced strike action or industrial action by tertiary institution, either management staff or students. You remember when ASU declared a national strike, the tertiary institutions in Imo, particularly Imo State University, was also on strike. But the governor of Imo State did not stop paying them their entitlements. That was why, after some time, they withdrew from being participants in that national strike. For the first time in Imo history, Imo State University and other state-owned tertiary institutions are receiving their funding and subventions as at when due. In fact, yesterday, His Excellency had an interactive session with the management and staff and students of Imo State University. The crowd there was beyond 6,000 people waiting and hailing him for the infrastructure he has brought to bear within the institution and their unbroken and uninterrupted calendar. Imo State University Teaching Hospital, for the first time, more than 8-10 years before the governor came on board, did not graduate medical doctors. Today, we are having convocation ceremonies graduating doctors from Imo State University Teaching Hospital. Imo State University did not have a convocation event for 8 years before the governor came. Now they are having it regularly. Imo State University, as at today, is in full session and has been in full session going to the 4th year under Governor Hope Uzodimma. Under Governor Hope Uzodimma, we now have a University of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences. It was never there before. We now have a polytechnic in Imo State. We now have, by the grace of God, very good relationship with the Federal University of Technology, in that the land of the university that was taken away by previous administration had been restored to the university by the government of Senator Hope Uzodimma. And that is why the medical college in that Federal University of Technology is now going through accreditation process. And that's how our Hitato Federal Medical Center has been upgraded by the federal government to a federal university teaching hospital to service Imo population. And Avanikopu College of Education, that was there before I was born as a college of education, is today a federal university of education in Imo State because of the performance level of the governor and his relationship with the federal government. No doubt, people in Imo will tell you, because education is our major industry, and we are graduating people and they are going on national service as and when due, and we are all happier for it, and it is all thanks to the governor's capacity and management potentials. That is what we're enjoying. Now, we are an oil producing state. We have 3 oil producing local governments, Ohajegbema, Uguta, and Oru East. We have our Imo State Oil Mineral Producing Area Development Commission. As of today, each of those local governments have a world-class general hospital with the latest laser equipment established by Governor Hope Uzodinma. They are commissioned and are now functional in those oil-bearing states, local governments of Imo State. And when you go there, you will see that this is the first time that commission has made such massive impact on the people of the state who are, by the grace of God, the bearers or the producers, or whose land is where we get this oil from. So if you come to Imo today, yes, nobody will have 100% acceptance or accreditation. But by the grace of God, this governor is enjoying more than 90% support base of the Imo population. I want to tell you that you need to come here to see the development being wrought by this government. It's one in town. No wonder if you come to APC, the governor is today the chairman of Progressive Governors Forum in Nigeria. We've never had a governor at such national level and attention. Today, he's the chairman of the Southeastern Governors Forum. We have never had it before. Imo used to be the backlog or the backbencher in Southeastern affairs or Nigerian affairs. We have a governor who has integrated us into the national grid, and we are attracting appointments.
Okay, it froze again, but it's going to come back very, very soon, I would imagine. Mr. Nobu, is it unfrozen yet? Well, the sense so far so good. Okay, I think it's unfrozen. So thank you very much. It froze briefly, but we did hear 98% of what you were saying. Now, let me just end like this because...
No, I said we had about 90% acceptance.
Okay, all right. Now, let me just close this way. Let me just end this way. Coming into Imo State, the state of transportation. Of course, you know this whole problem of fuel now, that there's no more subsidy, efforts to find alternatives, CNG, I believe it is called. Are there any efforts what are the efforts of the people to help transportation within the state? In brief, as we close.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, His Excellency, as you know, is one of the first, in fact, the first governor who made a minimum wage level of 40,000 naira per month. His Excellency is the first governor who provided, even before the subsidy matter arose, vehicles to transport our civil servants to and from work. The vehicles are there. In fact, we used to serve them snacks. And that is why we recorded, we now have high attendance of our workers to their official duties. Not in the past when people were doing private business and taking salaries. Now, to cushion this issue of subsidy, His Excellency has made a situation because of the infrastructure of roads where people can actually go to work from their homes without incurring extra cost on transportation because we have free transport scheme for them. But mind you, Imo is the large end of gas infrastructure in this country. And His Excellency has been engaged in a discussion and partnership to see that this gas is exploited in Imo. That is why His Excellency struck on the idea, and the project is ongoing, to make Imo accessible to the sea. That is the ORASHE, the program we have that was commissioned by the Minister for Transportation came to flag off. We are making it more accessible to the Atlantic Ocean, through Uguta, local government area. Now, the gas in Imo will be exploited, and we have an industrial cluster that will use the gas, and I'm sure the CNG you are talking of will all come in because of that free trade zone the governor is establishing in Imo State. And by the grace of God, when this comes in stream, Imo people will be happier for it, and the issue of transportation is a lot easier for us to manage because of the good roads, because of the transportation scheme the governor has introduced.
Okay, that's a fine place. I beg your pardon. That seems like a fine place at which to leave it. But I thought I would be remiss in the light of all that you said if we didn't go to that aspect of technology as well that you are sort of bringing together in the place. But I want to thank you very much. I know there's a lot more to be said, and indeed we might be able to look at those areas as we move towards the Saturday election. I want to thank you very much for making the time for us, Mr. Eyinaya Onegbu, Chief Political Advisor to the Imo State Governor. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me on your program, and thank you.
All right, then. So that's it. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Iyori Folare. Bye-bye for now.
I'm here to rule forever, and nothing can stop me.
That woman is wicked.
I love you all.
Get lost, ratchet, poor thing.
She must be bipolar.
The money, power, respect I have, I did it by doing everything.
That low-budget Beyonce.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Are you worried about the safety and security of your home at night? Do you wish to know when intruders come close to your home? Or do you want to protect what matters to your family from anywhere at any time? What if there was a convenient, affordable way to keep surveillance in your home without having to worry about wires, installations, or heavy light bills? Introducing the incredible Sidebulb HD Cam, the robotic 360-degree two-way torque camera with action tracking technology. Sidebulb is the ultimate solution for discreet and powerful surveillance. It's so easy to install, and the app lets you rotate and view the video from your Sidebulb in real time from any smartphone. You can drop in from anywhere and check in with our two-way talk technology. Talk and listen at the same time.
Hello, Mommy.
Hey, sweetie. I'll be home soon, okay?
Sidebulb's advanced tracking technology locks onto motion and tracks in real time. Set the siren alarm to go up when motion is detected and keep intruders away. Check in on your home while you're away. Make sure the kids got home safely. Interact with visitors at your doorway or surprise a trespasser.
Surveillance in a light bulb. I was amazed at the 360-degree rotation. It gives me a full view of my house and I can check in on my kids. The footage is clear and the night vision is so impressive. The best part, I can add multiple side bulbs for a complete home surveillance.
I really like my Sidebulb. It's so easy to use. I just downloaded the app, I put it on my phone, and I add it up and run in about 3 minutes.
Traditional surveillance systems are bulky, expensive, and difficult to install. But with Sidebulb HD Cam's innovative design, installation is as fast as changing a light bulb, and it's made for indoor and outdoor surveillance.
The Sidebulb HD Cam is now available in Nigeria, exclusively from ShopX TV. You could be paying up to 200,000 naira for an indoor and outdoor security system that doesn't fully secure your home. But call the number on your screen now and get the Sidebulb HD Cam for just 45,000 naira and get peace of mind. And that's not all. If you call now, we'll give you an extra Sidebulb at no extra cost. That means you buy one and get one free for 45,000 naira. But wait, there's more. If you order now, you get the Sidebulb HD Cam delivered to you for free wherever you are in Nigeria. So, call the number on your screen now or visit our website to place your order while stock lasts. The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking it.
and welcome to TVC Midday News. We'll begin in Abuja, where candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 presidential election, Peter Obi, said his dream for a new Nigeria has not ended with the verdict of the Supreme Court affirming President Bola Tinubu's victory. Mr. Obi, who spoke at a press conference in Abuja about 2 weeks after the Supreme Court verdict, faulted the judgment of the Apex Court, but agreed that the end has come to the legal battle of the last election. Addressing his supporters, the former governor of Anambra State said a destination is not an event, but a journey.
Look at the level of people they said now are going into temporary depression and everything. That's our commitment for now. We want to start talking about issues that put people into poverty. We want to deal with the issue of hunger, issue of productivity and everything. As we go along, we'll know. We don't regret anything we did. We came out and campaigned on a new Nigeria. No other party did. And we remain, our position remain consistent. We're consistently consistent on that, on a new Nigeria.
In a swift reaction, the presidency has reacted to Labour Party presidential candidate in the last election, Peter Obi, describing his comment as contradictory and delusional. In a press release, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, argued that Mr. Obi is only copying the PDP candidate, Atiku Abubakar, who refused to accept defeat, but rather cast aspersion on the judiciary. According to him, he wondered how someone who came a distant third will lay claim to victory. Mr. Ononuga accused Mr. Obi of running the most hateful, divisive and polarizing campaign that pitched Christians against Muslims and one ethnic group against another. Let's talk security now. At least 3 suspected terrorists have been killed by Nigerian Army troops of Operation World Punch during a clearance operation in the Birnin-Gwari local government area of Kaduna State. This was disclosed in a statement by the acting Deputy Director of Army Public Relations for 1 Mechanized Division, Lieutenant Colonel Musa Yahaya. He stated that the troops encountered the terrorists while conducting a clearance operation at Madaro, Ngadi, Ahla, and Rikau villages on Sunday. Additionally, the Kaduna Police Command reported that its operatives successfully rescued a Catholic priest, Andrew Amana, who was also kidnapped in the state. The police spokesperson disclosed that 2 suspects have been arrested in connection with the abduction of the Catholic priest. A training to strengthen the ability of the military to counter violent extremism as a milestone in tackling insecurity has opened in Abuja. Experts identified poor governance and climate change among other factors driving violent extremism. Sifon Isien reports.
Terrorism and violent extremism remain global security issues, forcing governments to develop strategies for tackling them. The consensus is that military operations and security measures alone are inadequate in addressing the problems. This training in Abuja brings together military officers from the West African sub-region to discuss other methods of tackling violent extremism.
Countering violent extremism is aimed at enhancing your ability as participants on identifying the drivers of violent extremism, understanding its links to terrorism and insurgency.
Poor governance, climate change and social inequality are among the identified factors driving violent extremism.
Violent extremism has been active in some West African states since 1960s, principally due to economic challenges, effect of climate change, ineffective governance, and growing ungoverned spaces.
The government of Japan believes that it is quite timely and beneficial to have this capacity building course to counter violent extremism. We are very committed to improving the world's ability to fight against violent extremism.